Okay.
Okay, so this is the demonstration for how to correctly employ color pencil over top of flat paint with tempera paint and colored pencil. We're doing the illuminated letters, so what you're going to start with is you're going to start with your middle value. So if I'm wanting this letter to kind of look orange, I'm going to start out with a red. And go ahead and lay in outlines to kind of use this opportunity to clean up any of your edges that may not be super fantastic. Like you see, this edge here is kind of nasty, so I'm going to use the red to clean that up. And I decided up here that I'd like to have a little bit of a ridge around it. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in now too. Let's say on the interior I wanted to create kind of a swirl pattern. I'm going to lay that in with the pencil as well. Alright, before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and use this middle red to go ahead and use hatch marks. You can also kind of lightly shade if you'd rather have smoother transitions. I'm going to go ahead and use this to lay in some value here to make it look like the ridge is raised. And now what I'm going to do is I want to make it look like it's got a little bit of a highlight in here. So I'm going to take this kind of light peach color. You could also use yellow in here if you wanted to. And I'm just going to kind of lay in a highlight here in the middle. And I'm going to use white to be my bright highlights in here. Now I'm going to come and use a different color to lay in my darks. So red and blue make violet, so I can use a little bit of violet to pull out my super darks. And I'm going to use a little tiny bit of black. Not a lot, just a little bit, to kind of give it a little bit of pop. I'm not putting heavy black outlines around everything. I'm just using it selectively in my areas where it gets a little bit too faded in. So that's the general procedure for the letter part. Now I'm going to show you guys how to work on this snake here. Obviously you guys have a lot of objects, some of you guys have animals. You want to go about it the same way, where you have a base tone of a flat color laid in and you start out with the dark details first. Now right now I'm just laying in some kind of basic scale shapes. And obviously these color choices are going to be different depending on what color you're working with here. Like I'm using greens because I got a green snake here. And I'm just going to kind of lay in a deep shadow along the snake's belly because I want to make it look like it's three-dimensional. And from here, I'm going to take a dark blue and start edging out some of the scales. Now, I don't want to go over every scale, just kind of everyone in the dark areas. After I do that, I'm going to come in with my lighter green and start pulling out some scale highlights on the opposite side as the shadow. And fur would work in this same way if you had a furry creature, but obviously your strokes will be different. After I get that light part laid in, I'm going to come in with my white and get some really bright shines and highlights on the scales itself. And then, just like before, I'm going to use a little tiny bit of black in the deepest shadows just to give it a nice, crisp, detailed edge.